What is up, guys? We are back for another F1 23 video, and this time we're at Qatar for a 100% race. This race had a lot of twists and turns in it, so make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video. But let's jump straight into it. We're going to be racing at Qatar. Obviously, it's a new track. I did some practice here. It's very satisfying to drive, very much so compared to Vegas. Well, we'll talk about Vegas another day, but we're going to be racing as Lewis Hamilton, and we're going to be taking on the 110% AI. I think the AI might be a little bit easier in comparison to last year's game. If you want to go head-to-head with them at a higher percentage or higher difficulty, then go for it. We're going to be customizing the weather, add a bit of rain, because why not? A bit of rain in the desert to spice things up even more. And we don't know exactly when that's going to come, but we have another option now to turn on and off whether this race will affect your license level for online. So yeah, that's right. You can put in the hard work in offline and be rewarded for it when you eventually jump online against cleaner drivers. So that's a great way to avoid dirty drivers altogether if you're interested in that. Anyways, both of the new tracks do look great. Visually, they're stunning. Qatar very much feels like it's laser scan. Pretty sure it is laser scan. Very bumpy track, but we're going to be customizing the strategy. Start on soft tires, go super aggressive at the start, then switch on to mediums, and pray for the rain to come maybe a bit earlier, and then that way we get one stop in rather than doing the two stop before the rain does arrive. You'll notice we're running pretty high downforce setup, and that is pretty high compared to the AI, as well as we will suffer a little bit down the straights, but the goal is to make it up in the corners, of course, and hopefully we don't get as much tire wear in the end, especially if the rain comes. That'll help us out when it is wet weather driving as well. Starting from the back, it is a last place to question mark challenge. Who knows how far we'll get up the order. Thanks, Mark. I think I know how to do a formation of that by now. But anyways, yeah, important to get your tires nice and warm. We're on the soft tires, so they're obviously going to be a little bit easier to heat up compared to the mediums and the hards. But it took roughly a quarter of the track, half the track, to eventually warm them up to their operating temperature window. And now all we're going to do is park on the grid, and we can get this 100% race, 57 laps at Qatar, underway in the desert. And this is one of the better tracks that they've added in recent past to the F1 game. We've now got the red lights on the screen. It's 5 red lights. And away we go. We get off to an okay start. Not much wheel spin. Definitely better than Sargent. So we're going to be looking to split them down the middle. But then I actually have a second thought here. I want to get off throttle, switch back to the inside, and then dive bomb as many cars as possible at turn 1. Albon on the outside now, getting sandwiched between us and Magnus, and Piastri just in front, looking around the outside, but definitely not an overlap with Piastri to make any kind of move work there. Albon's still on our outside on the medium tires, so he will have a little bit less grip for the first few laps here, and we do hang him out to dry just to keep that position. This is probably the best overtaking opportunity on the whole circuit. Down the inside, probably the only heavy braking zone on the entire circuit as well. And we do make our way up to P13. We got to utilize these soft tires as much as possible. So Sonoda is up next. This is a bit of like a roller coaster section of the circuit. I do enjoy this part. And then we've got this sweeping left-hander. And so far we're able to stick onto the back of Sonoda pretty well here. Along with all the AI, seems to be a bit of an AI train. Not getting too affected by dirty air at this point. These fast-flowing corners are probably the most satisfying part of the entire circuit. Usually just a single downshift is required and a bit of a lift through this left-hander, especially on heavy fuel load and if you have lower downforce settings. We're going to absolutely mug Sonoda around the outside of the final corner here, and Stroll is in our crosshairs up next as we head down the pit straight, as Charles Leclerc is actually leading the race, so Ferrari would be stoked with that. A little bit of success coming their way after Le Mans as well. And we head into turn 1. Stroll still ahead of us as we get a massive tank slapper. Luckily, we're able to save that with this new handling model. It's a lot easier to save the car and predict what the car is going to be doing underneath you. So you guys will look forward to that indeed. Stroll making the move on Bottas. He actually... Does he get... No, he's still going side by side here. So we're going to follow him through. I really want to be on the inside here, but it doesn't matter if we're on the inside or outside. We're still going to overtake Stroll. And as long as we have the inside going into this long winding right-hander where you have to wait ever so patiently to get on the throttle again, we should have Stroll covered. Moving on, we've got Ocon up next, going through Sector 1 here. We're going to be switching to the inside, of course, into this heavier braking zone on the circuit yet again. Probably our hottest destination for making our overtakes, with Norris up next on lap 3. And we do have the DRS indeed now. You'll see at the top of the screen, you got clean laps. It's actually totaling the amount of clean laps you complete without corner cutting or making a collision with another car. And that is indeed the statistics that will be affecting your license level for online. So you can kind of skip all the shenanigans that happen on, I guess, day one if you just stay on single player, work up your way through the license levels, and then that way you get some better quality racing and respect on the track, unlike the disrespect I'm about to show Norris going through that left-hander. Absolutely mugged him off there. And Gasly is up next, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Probably came from a little bit far back. I locked the rear axle, I think, a little bit there too, so you got to be careful with the brake bias. Gasly has the inside for this next corner, and you'd normally be safe, but because we're Lewis Hamilton and we're coming through the field like it's nothing, like a hot knife through butter, nobody is safe, especially Gasly. Up next, Russell, our teammate. We've already caught up to him, albeit he's on the medium tire and it is lap 6, but we have so much time to make up for that, and we're going to be sticking in the DRS whenever our tires go off, so let's make sure we make the most of that. Don't really need to save fuel at this point. I think we're like 2 laps over fueled, so we should be fine until the end of the race, especially with the rain coming. Usually don't burn as much fuel when there is rain on the track. Russell is starting to attack Alonso now, so it'd be interesting to see if he can make a move anytime sooner. And speaking of which, he's already making the move, lap 11 now, and that creates an interesting dilemma because we would have liked to have stayed with Russell and got him to tow us all the way as far up as he was going to take us, but Alonso is now the middleman here, so we're going to have to try and dispatch of Alonso sooner rather than later. But he is on the same tire as us, so I guess that is the person that we are racing at this point in time. And lap 14, we both decide to come in for some new tires, and I actually think that it is possible to overtake someone in this pit lane. I just didn't have the balls to do it. So if you're ever in an online lobby or a league race, go for it, mate. I'd like to see some overtakes there. We get a nice clean stop from Mercedes, and let's see if we can jump. Oh, we actually jumped Alonso. Oh, Alonso would be so salty with that. Anyways, his loss is my gain. It looks like Russell, with the momentum he has, is going to steam past us on the pit straight, so we won't be getting out in front of him. But I'm happy with just getting Alonso without even needing to make an overtake. The game did it for me. So up next we have Magnussen on the soft tire. I think he hasn't made a pit stop yet, but more importantly, Alonso is going to be faster than us being on the soft tire right now, and he is looking to make a move on us. And this is Sector 3, where the high-speed, fast-flowing corners are. We're going side-by-side, wheel-banging through the double right-hander here, and he's still side-by-side. Managed to fend him off for now, but I'm looking to get as many cars between me and Alonso as possible, because Alonso is vicious as. We are now within striking distance of Magnussen with DRS, and De Vries is just in front of him, so Magnussen will get the DRS open as well. I think Magnussen probably has the straight line speed on us. We're going to be deploying a little bit of battery. Alonso is now zooming past us as well. We're going to look to the outside. It's like 4 wide, I think, or 3 wide at least. And we managed to get the job done in turn 1 around the outside. What a move. And that's going to put 2 cars in between Alonso and ourselves. So that's turned out perfectly for us. That's the best possible scenario that could have played out for us in terms of our race. I didn't even need to use the flashback like Doctor Strange does to beat Thanos. Anyways, Hulkenberg is up next, the other Haas. And we'll be looking to get past him as soon as possible, going in our favorite overtaking destination, which is this sharp left-hander. Piastri's up next. We've already overtaken him once, so let's make sure we do that again as soon as possible. And we're going to look around the outside of turn 9, which isn't really an overtaking opportunity at all. If anyone can pull off a move in online against a real human there, good on ya. Bottas is out of the race. I think he just had a mechanical failure and he's just pulled off to the side here. So that's one of the Alfa Romeos out of the race. And our teammate Russell, who was on the soft tyres, is now in the pits as our tyres are starting to begin to look a bit average. They're down to the 30% range. And Verstappen is also in the pits with the fastest lap of the race. Now we'll be looking at wet weather soon, so I'm not sure really why Russell and Verstappen pitted so close to where we're expecting the rain to start coming down. It's beyond me. They could have easily stayed out and made, you know, a few more laps last, albeit the rain hasn't come yet, so we don't know when it's going to start dropping. But Verstappen is just going to absolutely blast past us like we don't even exist. Probably like he would in real life, let's be real. At least we got 30 clean laps. I'll take that. Rain has finally started to come down just as Verstappen overtook us. So yeah, he definitely should have stayed out. He just wasted an extra pit stop, as did Russell, and you can see the track is starting to get really slippery now on lap 33 here. Leclerc and Verstappen are...
Situation's pretty touch and go right now. We think the slicks may still be quick.
Thanks, Mark. I got interrupted there. But yes, Leclerc and Verstappen are pretty far ahead, so I don't imagine us jumping them during this wet weather cycle of pit stops. And Sainz is the one that comes into the pits, and Leclerc has been left out to do another lap, so that's interesting. Maybe we can get in front of him when he does come around to make his pit stop if the weather does come down hard enough on this lap. Mark gave us the pit stop strategy to come in, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing, putting on the intermediates, and Verstappen is also doing the exact same thing. I imagine pretty much everyone will be. Russell behind us is also coming in. And yeah, DRS is now disabled, so that is definitely the indication. Okay, Mark won't shut up, so I'm going to cut this. Okay, finally, we're not competing to talk over the top of each other now. Sainz is the one in front of us, but Leclerc's the one that hasn't made the stop yet, so Sainz is actually in front, and the next lap you can see Leclerc is our next target in front of us with 6 seconds, so we did lose a bit of time. It'd be interesting to see if we are faster or slower than the AI in the wet, because I really haven't got a good gauge against the AI yet from wet weather driving. Sargent pulls over nicely out of the way. Good to see the AI behavior a lot better this year for getting out of the way and just racing in general. We have burned off a lot of fuel, but the wet weather is letting us plateau with how much fuel burn we are having. And I'm starting to consider saving a little bit of fuel because we are looking at a dry period coming up shortly as the rain has stopped. And when the track fully dries out, we will be burning more fuel. So yeah, a little bit of concern there as we come in now for our final pit stop, it should be. Now, look, I wanted to go on the soft tires, and I swear I changed it, but unfortunately, Mercedes HQ thought the mediums were the best option here. So we'll be put onto the mediums, and it looks like the rest of our competition is going to be on the mediums anyway. I wouldn't call it perfect, Mark. I wanted the soft. Enough complaining. Getting out on track again in the dry conditions, there is so much grip. It took me a little while to get used to it. I'm glad I didn't get any corner cutting warnings because just turning in was so much more quicker than being in the wet because you have so much more grip. And the fast flowing section yet again is just probably the best part of this track, and it'll never get old, so I can't wait until you guys get to try that out. De Vries getting out of the way nicely. And really no complaints at this point in the race. Russell's still 10 seconds behind us, and Leclerc is eking out that gap ever so slightly. I do think the Ferrari is probably the second best car at the moment on the performance index, as Tsunoda has had a spin there. There's yellow flags. I don't think it looks like there was calls for a safety car. Red flags and safety car were set to increase for this race, so it's absolutely mind-blowing that we haven't had a single safety car or a red flag, but I guess that's just the nature of the circuit as I'm starting to coast now as running out of fuel, and we've got some yellow flag up ahead as well, and that looks like a slow Red Bull actually. We'll find out shortly when we start to head up towards it. And on lap 56, the penultimate lap of the race, that is in fact Verstappen that is going slow, and he's still going slow. He's ran out of fuel. Verstappen has ran out of fuel on the penultimate lap of the race. Everyone's just eating him up at the moment, so we have an opportunity here to pick up a free position towards the end of the race. It's basically yellow flags wherever he's going, and it looks like another yellow flags for the Mercedes behind us. Russell might have an issue as well. We'll have to find out shortly what that's about. And yes, indeed, yeah, that's Russell with, I think it's a fuel issue as well. as the Aston Martin's starting to pass him now. Yeah, wow. So AI can run out of fuel. I honestly didn't know that. As we're starting the last lap now, we have the opportunity to catch Verstappen here as we're running almost red on our own fuel. So we have a little bit of coasting to do, but Verstappen is just going so slowly due to having no fuel that we're going to easily get past him here. Yeah, before we even get into Sector 2 here. As you can see, Russell is going slow as, and Alonso just easily passed him. As you can see on his dash, he ran out of fuel as well. So I don't know if this is a new thing. This is the first time I've ever seen AI run out of fuel. Obviously, these guys were predicting a safety car red flag as well. I was predicting it too, but clearly they underfueled the car way too much at the start, and they've ran out of fuel, pinning their hopes on a safety car. And while I was driving to a number, and I managed to save enough fuel for the last lap of the race, the AI clearly didn't, and I love that that's a feature now, as Alonso is now going slow. He's ran out of fuel as well. Verstappen's ran out of fuel, Russell's ran out of fuel, Norris has ran out of fuel. Everyone's running out of fuel now, and they're all getting punished for it. Whereas, because I did some fuel saving in the wet weather period and some coasting, we're going to come home in 4th place to take home the checker flag. What a twist at the end of this race. What a great first race for the brand new circuit for Qatar. Really enjoyed that one coming from the back of the grid. It looks like we'll get driver of the day as well, so I'll take that. And it looks like we got some slightly new cutscenes. Nothing groundbreaking here, but you know, updates the game a little bit, makes it a bit more fresh. And yeah, really enjoyed that one. Handling felt great. Circuit's really satisfying. Can't wait to host some online races on this one. Perez wins the race ahead of Sainz and Leclerc. Ferrari will be thrilled with that, a double podium. They could never in real life. Adrian Newey on the podium with Perez. If you guys enjoyed this video and this race, be sure to leave a like, helps out the channel a whole bunch, and subscribe for more content. Can't wait to make some more Dirty Drivers online content, some more mod videos. That'll be coming very soon. But that is your lot for today, and I'll see you all in a brand new video.